Hi, Doc Martin, the lone journalist for KRAZ TV. 3 new book reviews today, last day of the year 2022. And the first one, of course, Formidable, American Women and the Fight for Equality, 1920 to 2020, 100 years, by Elizabeth Griffith. Of course, on the front it says, an essential history of the struggle by both black and white women to achieve their equal rights. What a great story this one is. Had to be told. What I did not know, and I learned in here that in the suffragist movements, 1878 is when they first started, really putting it together and fighting and being organized. So it was after the Civil War. And it did not take let's see what, let me get my bearings here on this. It was the amendment. So, the 19th Amendment. Susan B. Anthony. That's called the Anthony Amendment. Well, that's fitting. Until 1920 to become ratified. All those years. And yet, still today, it's not fully implemented. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? I am shocked. Well, anyways, it's a grand book, and it's a Pegasus Books as the press. Elizabeth Griffith, there's her picture. Earned her PhD from American University and an undergraduate degree from Wellesley College. She has been a Kennedy Fellow at Harvard's Institute of Politics and a Klingenstein Fellow at Columbia's Teachers College. She has written for New York Times, Washington Post, professional journals, and is currently teaching courses in women's history at Smithsonian's Associates and Politics and Prose. She is the author of In Her Own Right, The Life of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, which was the inspiration for Ken Burns' PBS documentary Not For Ourselves Alone. The Wall Street Journal called In Her Own Right one of the 5 best books on women's history, and Oprah magazine recommended it for Women's History Month in 2020. The fight goes on, right? Well, my mother is a very strong woman too, and she had a great impetus in my life. And at KRAZ TV and the Zero Channel, we have a playlist called Our New Chiefs Are Strong Women. It's all about it right here. Loads and loads. So, I'll just look at some of the contents. Is Now We Begin, Flappers and Feminists, The Eleanor Effect, from Rosie Parks. Rosie was women workers during the World War II, and Rosa Parks did not give up her seat. Pillboxes and protests, battle lines, factions and firsts, leaning in and losing, isolation and exceptionability, and not enough. A lot's been covered in here. And here's some quotes by some of the famous women in the world and women in this book. Any great change must expect opposition because it shakes the very foundation of privilege. That's Lucretta Coffin Mott. We shall not be divided or defeated again. That was Coretta Scott King. Michelle Obama. You will not always be able to solve all the world's problems at once, but don't ever underestimate the importance you can have. Because history has shown us that courage can be contagious and hope can take on a life of its own. David Brooks. For all of its excesses, feminism has been the most important and most salutary change in our lifetimes. So I guess there's a couple of men in here. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Real change, enduring change, happens one step at a time. So, the storylines. This has always been more than one American story. So, it talks in the early days. There are many prominent black women and just women are pissed off to start the fuse burning in this issue way back. Some great plates in here. These now at the top on some of these plates here it says the great race women. So these were, well, 3 black women and 1 white woman here, and this is Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, Anna Hayward Cooper, Ida B. Wells Barnett, and Mary Church Terrell. Oh, what a wonderful book. Jeannette Rankin. Do you know, many years ago, she came into power, or it was like in 1916. So this was during the height of World War I, or getting started, you know. Anyways, I found out she was the only dissenting vote when the vote came to declare war on Japan. And the only woman, of course, but she was the dissenting vote to not go to war against Japan in 1941. So that was Jeannette Rankin. I always had heard about her and knew that fact, but there's her picture. So, it's just so much, so much. There's Native American women. Marie Louise Bottonnet Baldwin. I'm sorry I butcher names. And Zitkala Sa, Gertrude Simmons Bonin, Jessie DePriest, wife of the only congressman to tea, inviting her to tea in 1929 caused a scandal. Can you imagine? Oh, there's a lot of stupid things in this world, but here's flappers and feminists. Josephine Baker, of course. Margaret Sanger. Soledad Chavez de Cachon, the first Hispanic and first Secretary of State of the state of New Mexico. 1922. How wonderful, huh? I think it was a state before Arizona. We came into the Union in 1912. Oh. Annie Tabor was one of thousands of black Rosies contributing to the war effort. It's just... here's a rare picture. This is Norma Jean Dougherty, who became Marilyn Monroe. She worked as a Rosie, too, in a factory in 1944. So it's just a big surprise. Change agents. You have Betty Friedan, joins now, co-founder Marguerite Rawalt outside. So there's the co-founder of NOW, National Organization of Women. There's Angela Davis. That was very controversial, and that was when I was in college and as a veteran in the Vietnam War. So the first cadet, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, co-founded ACLU's Women's Rights Project. That's very young. And the bottom, Nancy Mace, Congresswoman Nancy Mace, was the first female graduate of the Citadel. Well, imagine the hell she went through, huh? So it's a triumphant book, and it's a wonderful story, and it just goes on and on about the struggles, and well, it's not over yet, folks. So, Lucy McBath, a Democrat from Georgia, won a congressional seat in 2018. Emily's List, Ellen Malcolm, which is still funding pro-choice Democratic women candidates. Of course, it has Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, the three judges here, Sandra Day O'Connor, Sonia Sotomayor, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and they're standing around for Elena Kagan's investiture. So those are the four current and women justices. Let's use the last page. And now to celebrate 1921, to celebrate passage of the 19th Amendment, the National Women's Party donated Adelaide Johnson's portrait, a monument of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Susan B. Anthony, and Lucretta Mott to the U.S. Capitol. And then there's another one here, Women's Rights Pioneers. In 2020, New York City added a monument. A Soldier and True, Susan B. Anthony, and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Well, women, thank you so much. Thanks to my mother, too. A great soul. Everyone, keep up the fight. You're doing well. Should have been over a long time ago, right? KRAZ-TV. We got this book at the Tucson Pima County Library. Thank you for watching.